Hello, everybody. Welcome to GT Time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
I'm back.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
In the super seat this week, Ben Moore.
Hello.
And making this all happen, Ian Hink.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. How are we doing?
Hi.
Ben is debuting a brand new mug.
Brand new mug.
To listeners, how would you describe this mug?
So I like Blizzard and I like Japanese things. That's what this is. It's got basically a chibi version of Sylvanas and Tyrande on it. It's now my favorite thing that I own.
It reminds me of Teen Titans. I don't know if that's an insult or not, but that's what it reminds me of.
I like Teen Titans.
It's a nice mug.
I'm not ashamed.
Ben, here's our super seat question this week.
Will you knock that mug on the floor?
That should be its own bet.
That's the running game of the show. We'll have sirens
Blood
go
and
off.
I have
We'll
bets.
a good time.
Blood and I are exchanging dollar bills
Side
at the
bets.
table right now.
Ben, what is a project you did in high school that you're still proud about?
Yeah, I thought a lot about this, and I'm bummed that I don't have a great answer. Most of my high school career, I was a terrible student.
Sure.
Like as bad of a student as you could be. Like cheated on a lot of tests, copied a lot of homework. Like
Whoa.
just not a good student.
There wasn't even Hearthstone back then.
No, I was just. I was going through some things as my young high school self, and junior year, for whatever reason, I was like, no, I want to go to college. I want to be successful in life. I want to do things. I don't just want to be a bum. And so I started taking things seriously. And kind of right when I made that decision, we got this English project, and it was essentially a big book report. It was more complicated than that, but you had to read this piece of classic literature, and you had to write like an 8-page thing on it.
Yeah.
And the book that I read was about I don't remember the name of the book, which is the irony of this thing, but it was about a guy that his entire life he just wanted to go to college. He grew up poor. He had nothing. He wanted to go to a prestigious school so he could like find value in himself. Mm-hmm. And he tries so hard throughout the entire book, and not only does he not make it to college, he ends up getting a woman that he doesn't even love pregnant, and his entire life is ruined. So it's a super depressing book. But you know, based on what I told you, it connected with me, and I put so much passion and enthusiasm. It was like the most passion I had ever put into anything in high school, and like I got an A+ on it. And I was proud of that. It was like a turning point for me.
That's great, but it also sounds like whoever's assigning that as a book is like trying to make an intervention.
No, they didn't assign it to me.
Oh, okay.
I picked it from a list, and I didn't even know what the book was about.
Whoa, you
Yeah.
just like the title.
No, I don't remember why I picked it. It was like you have to pick
Right. No,
one
I
of these
remember those.
things, and yeah.
No. You know who wrote that book? Is your future self.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah, that is what
12
happened.
monkeys, man.
That has to be what happened. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's a great project.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't like the writing, so he gave it a 7.8. But it resonated with him strongly. But that was the beginning.
8 pages concludes with 7.8. Let's start corrections music, please. HoloLens doesn't require Kinect outside, but it does use Kinect-like cameras that stare outward from the headset.
Corrections for episodes I wasn't
That's-
on are the best. I love it.
That sounds like a good idea.
Absolutely. Parappa the Rapper first released in 1996. Dance Dance Revolution first came out in 1998. And the first Beatmania game was 97. So Parappa predates both of those.
Cool.
Very cool. Ultra Street Fighter 4 matches are 99 seconds long, not 90. Oculus Rift can work on operating systems other than Windows. And then, here we go. This is a big one. A lot of people took umbrage with Bloodworth's comment that Need for Speed was taking place.
We had a
at-
discussion in the comments with 2 other people.
Well, now we're having it live on the show, Blood. Here it comes. You're getting confronted. Blood said that they made it nighttime because it was easier to render. He said they were being lazy. However, people did not agree with that. Here's Helder's comment. Being nighttime is not easier on the rendering engine. Quite the contrary. Nighttime means you have to use more lights to light up your environment. Even with deferred lighting being standard nowadays, many lights on screen being rendered at the same time is very taxing on the renderer as they overdraw over each other. Daytime is actually cheaper to make because the sun is only a single light.
It's funny that you're adding so much like anger to it when I didn't read it that way at all. You
Really?
included that in the email to all of us. And
I
like
thought
I
it
read
was-
it was like, oh, how informative. Or I like that you clearly like, I'm mad at you, Bloodworth voice.
Yeah, I thought I was restraining myself, to be honest. I'm pretty sure Helder was even madder than that.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Looking at it, the conversation again now, I think one of the things is like I don't think I was thinking of it in terms of night versus day. It's like you're only doing one of those things. So it's like that's why I was thinking it would be less work because they're not doing day at all. So they only have one situation to deal with.
You're just taking yourself deeper, man. Are you really willing to do that? You're saying that they just made it night only so they didn't have to do day?
Oh no, it was just whatever.
Just talking.
Just whatever.
No, man, I didn't say nothing.
Look, I'll take any opportunity to draw out the corrections music. Please end corrections music. That was a fun one.
It actually probably is a good bit though, because we can't hear the music now, but like the music, like.
Oh yeah, just as just like
Well, it's still
whatever.
going.
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, oh, we'll freaking love it. Let's my favorite way to start the show is with a game announcement. We have one. Well, sort of. HD remasters never feel like game announcements, but this one is unique at least.
Did we not do a bet on this? We should have done a bet on this.
On Resident Evil 0 HD, would you be willing to say this is? I know this is coming.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a shoo-in of something that was going to happen.
So there were 2 remakes on GameCube, Resident Evil and Resident Evil 0, correct?
No, Resident Evil 0 is an all-new game.
Original game on GameCube,
Yeah.
and then this is an HD
It was just a
remake
prequel,
of that.
so.
But it was
Yeah.
in the same engine.
Yes, using the same engine as remake. Right. So you just assumed because we had Resident Evil and it was a big success that this is an obvious announcement.
Yeah.
And it's on the same engine, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
it's
guess
like they're
used
using the
to
same
doing it.
stuff. Yeah, it's probably just go through the same exact process.
I mean, I sort of agree with Blood in the sense that it's not that surprising, you know, considering how successful remake the re-release of Remake was. But Resident Evil 0 has always had a very curious place in the Resident Evil timeline. Like, it is
Right.
not, I don't think it's completely reviled, but it's certainly not loved. It just sort of exists as sort of the one of the last classic style games.
Didn't it like retcon a bunch of stuff and like change the story in ways people hated or something like that?
We're gonna have to defer to Huber for that, I'm afraid.
Well,
I
I,
think
did.
it might have.
I did the Resident Evil retro, so I mean, I definitely was studied in that. I don't
Nah, we
remember
better ask
retconning it too much. I
Huber.
think it just added a lot to it. I think it was the remake that retconned everything. Not retconned, but like explained the Spencer Mansion a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
And so leading into that, it kind of said the backstory of characters that didn't really exist or weren't focused on in the original Resident Evil.
I remember Huber's problem with it now, actually.
I got a big problem with it.
He's mad that in Resident Evil 0, these people are fighting zombies, they overcome zombies, and
Oh,
then in the
yeah.
game that takes
Yeah,
place
yeah.
afterward, they're like, zombies!
Right.
Right, that's his big
They act
issue
like
with
they've
it.
never seen it before, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your big problem with Resident Evil 0?
You can't, if you put items in chests, it's in that chest.
Yeah.
They like, for
Yeah.
some reason, were like, what if we took out the universal chest system?
Yeah, get good. That's the
when you like
purpose of
get, well,
that.
if you like get near the end, it's like, oh, I don't have that. Then it's like, that's like 30 minutes of me like walking all the way back.
I
that
watched
chest,
Huber
getting
play on
it,
that
and
game
then
mode.
walking all the way back.
Yeah, man, that's hard. That's hard difficulty.
There's hard, and then there's like
Falsely extending your
walking
game.
all the way
Annoying.
back.
Sure,
Yeah.
all right.
I have to wonder, like the thing I'm most curious about is what are Capcom's expectations for this?
Absolutely.
Is this just something that they're putting out here that doesn't take a tremendous amount of effort and however does great because their expectations are appropriately in check, or are they like, no, we're hoping to get close to what the re-release of Remake did? Because and then do they take it a step further, and if it doesn't do well, do they say does that shape the future of Resident Evil?
The old Darkstalkers.
Yeah. Because boy, I hope not. Like
It won't, because we can all acknowledge now this won't do as well as Resident Evil
Yeah.
HD did.
Right.
People don't have feelings of this game like they do for Resident Evil.
Yeah, people have like this vague memory. It was like, there was a train and there was like 2 people, right?
Yeah, just like us at this table just now. Absolutely. Yeah, I hope that's the case. Coming out early 2016. Good time?
Sure. I can't think of anything that's
Sure, I mean, it's like a year after
Gonna dominate
this one
it.
came out. So.
Yeah.
This one came out for Halloween, I thought. Resident Evil. No, it didn't. It came out early 2015, didn't it? Yeah.
I mean, we have Revelations 2. Now we got this. Maybe just keep the dream alive in people's minds before they make another big RE announcement.
No. RE7's coming out this fall.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, little E3 bets.
It's an E3 bet.
Teaser?
Do a little teaser.
That's hilarious.
I really do think it is. I bet it is. I bet it is.
Well, I don't want to play that.
Didn't
I'm
they
not going to play
drop-
that bet.
They dropped 6 like that real fast.
Absolutely,
or was
yeah.
that 5?
Yeah, that was 6.
And that worked out okay. So yeah, who knows?
I'm not saying this is rational. I'm really not. But the way I feel about Resident Evil 7 is the exact same way I feel about Final Fantasy 15. Like, it's sort of a put up or shut up for me. Like, Capcom and Square Enix were the two most important gaming companies to me growing up.
Sure.
And I've been so betrayed by both companies so many times, and we'll talk about an example of that in the future of this episode. But if those two games don't live up to expectations, I'm done. Like, I have no interest in those companies anymore.
15's already good, man.
15 is good right now, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm not saying that's going to happen,
Sure.
but I don't know what to think about Resident Evil 7, despite Revelations 2 being as good as it is.
There's a lot riding on 7, I agree. Let's just get into that thing. Here's what happened. The PlayStation 4 version of Ultra Street Fighter 4 is miserable. It's bad. It's not good. It is broken. And here's the deal. Sony had a promotional deal with Capcom. At all the tournaments, at all the huge tournaments, they would be playing the PlayStation 4 version of Ultra Street Fighter 4. That came out this week. It's not working out. Lots of issues, lots of weird issues, like Sonic Booms being invisible. Just weird, stupid things, like the duck noise making a weird, like, clank noise. Just really weird, freaky stuff.
Punch sound, when you duck, it would make, like, the jab connecting. Yeah.
It's super weird. Like, audio glitches, visual glitches. Everyone's got, like, a drop shadow on them. It makes me very mad. Anyway, Sony had this deal. Just like, okay, if you're playing at a tournament, you're going to be playing the PS4 version of it. Capcom yesterday said, okay, no, you're not. You're not going to be playing the PlayStation 4 version of it until it's patched. We'll let you know when the Capcom Cup Tour, when we will be using the PS4 version. Until then, no, we'll stick with the Xbox 360 or whatever you are using in your tournaments.
That's sad.
I'm not sad. I'm angry. I'm furious about this.
Street Fighter 4 is the king of Evo.
Yes.
And has been for years.
Yeah.
It is the game people come to watch.
Yeah.
It is highly regarded in the fighting game community. And in a weird way, this sort of walk back just makes me feel gross. Like, you're taking this thing that has such a reputation, such a legacy, and you're saying, this is the definitive version, we're going to use it at EVO, the biggest fighting game event of the year. And then you walk it back and you say, actually, no, this version sucks. Sorry, stick with what you have.
Yeah. Well,
That's awful.
Here's the things. I'm pinning this on Sony, and so did Capcom, actually, very overtly. They said, yeah, Sony made this. Sony published this game, and they did. And here's who developed this game is Other Ocean Interactive. Just like a kind of schlubby developer, who kind of does ports and like lousy little games.
They did a port of MK Collection. It was equally miserable.
Yeah. So when you look at that, hey, we've done one fighting game in the past and it's awful, how do you give them the project? How do you say, yes, you should have the biggest fighting game? Here you go, you dumb little company who can't handle this.
Do you think Capcom is completely off the hook, though, even though this was a Sony-initiated thing? Like, it's still Capcom's brand. It's still the thing that they need to protect.
Obviously, everyone's responsible, but like Sony let it out the door.
Yeah, I wouldn't brush Capcom under the rug at all. Like, because I think it's your brand, and you look at something like StarCraft. It's like Blizzard would totally own that. Like, Blizzard would never be in a position where they could blame somebody else for that game not performing.
StarCraft 64.
Right. So
was that developed by Blizzard, or did they outsource that?
I actually don't know.
Yeah,
but I mean something that you know well in advance. You know before you even start the project that this will be something that will be highly competitive. That this will be something that will be played by the best people in the world at this game.
Yes.
Very seriously.
It has to be perfect.
That to let that happen, you're like, oh, it's not. You got to own that a little bit.
I think that's what makes me so mad. Let me even read a quote. This is from Gio Corsi, Sony's director of third-party productions. On Friday last week, called this game the ultimate version on any platform, was really talking it up on the PlayStation blog. That was 5 days before the game launched. Like, that is, to me, so dishonest. I have to imagine...
Because all the guy saw was a piece of paper the whole time. That piece of paper didn't lie. No, they wrote all of that, all of those beats out, and he read that piece of paper a lot, and he knew, and it always said that, and that was the angle that they were going to take.
Yeah, he never played that game.
But there's no way that
the
guy is going to...
The director of third-party production should have played that game.
The director of third-party production, you think, should be so clued into that game that he knows that those little sound cues are being messed up, and that he's going to play that enough.
I mean,
to actually get to those
you saw
places.
that stuff You saw that stuff in like an hour of playing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing, Brandon. Yeah,
And I'm a scrub.
the director of third-party production doesn't have to be on top of every single game. You know, if there's a little glitch in a pixel junk game, who cares? If there's a glitch in a game that they're playing in tournaments for money, for huge cash prizes, it has to be perfect. You got to be on top of that game.
I would expect him to do that. I'm saying I would expect him to do that just because that would be nice. But I don't actually expect him to do that. You know, like I'm not surprised.
I'm furious. I'm
that
very, very
someone
angry.
in his position that would have gone past because it's not his. You know, it's not. This is not Sony's thing. This is a Capcom product. This is something that they, you know, like people don't think about Sony when they go to Evo. They think about Capcom.
But that's what Sony wants. You know, the Street Fighter V is exclusive to PS4 and PC. They want it. They want to be associated with this brand, and they blew it.
I feel like I've only talked to a few people in a similar position to that, but I'm generalizing here, but the sense I've always got is they only care about how things sound on paper, you know? Like, oh, we're getting this exclusive thing at this price point with these features, good.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters to them. They do not understand any other aspect of the game.
Yeah.
And, like, you will ask them questions, and they will reword it in a way where it's like, no, but you're getting it at this price point with these features.
With all the DLC. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
That's another bullet.
Right.
They're playing the numbers game, not the games.
Well, they played the numbers
Ooh.
game wrong big time here. This
Yeah.
one I think you have to invest a lot of money in.
Well,
Does
but
not bode well for Street Fighter V.
Well, it does, because Capcom and Dimps are still working on Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V won't be a mess like this. Other Ocean won't touch it.
Because Street Fighter V won't be a port, and I think it's,
Exactly.
it's the port that we're specifically addressing here.
Ono won't let us down. I believe in Ono.
I believe in Ono, too. He's a funny guy.
But I mean, but I think the thing, with the Capcom ownership of it, it's like, even if Sony took the reins of publishing and responsibility, you still can't just say like, oh yeah, they've got that, we don't have to worry about that, which seems like what they did. There's like, oh yeah, cool, you guys are handling that, sweet. You still have to like check in on it.
Yeah,
Because it's not like, because like the most similar situation I can think of this is when Bayonetta came out, right? And which one was it? Was 360 or PS3?
PS3 was the junk one, yeah.
Yeah, and like Platinum was like, hey guys, we didn't make this. Somebody else made this, and they made sure that like it even clearly said that on the back of the box. But Platinum was just a developer. Like, Sega was the one in charge of making that decision and that quality control. Capcom is the publisher. It's like it's their property, it's their franchise. They have responsibility over those ports, even if they've gotten some money for somebody else to do it.
This is why the world needs Seth Killians, because. And there are very, 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 very few of them out there. Like a lone voice that will repeatedly, constantly say, no, you cannot do this. This is wrong. This is how this game is supposed to work. Please, I beg of you, do it this way. And it's such a shame that those voices are so undervalued so consistently.
Yeah. I guess it is the numbers game. That's a depressing one. Let's move on to a funny story, huh? I'm so bent out of shape after that one. Here's a great one. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. Bandai Namco, they made Brandon, you were talking up this game. They made a Star Wars arcade cabinet.
There's still really cool things about the game.
It's called Battle Pod.
Battle Pod.
So you go into like a pod, and it's like just a huge dome screen in front of you. And now they're selling this thing to regular consumers like you and me for $35,000.
Yeah, piece of cake. We're getting an office one. It's gonna be sweet.
I've like looked at arcade cabs before. They're not that expensive. That's like a college education.
Yeah.
Well,
But
for
this
1
thing
year.
moves around and stuff, right? Like,
You're right. It's more than a. You're right. It's more than a
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet. Absolutely.
Yeah, the sound is really great. You're definitely enclosed. Like you have to open a little door when you go in, and you close the door. So like you're definitely. It's a nice little isolation chamber. Even if you're not playing it, you can just go in there and meditate.
Here's the bigger kick I get out of this. That's just the standard edition. You can get the premium edition of Star Wars Battle Pod. Costs $100,000. It comes in either Rebel Edition or Darth Vader Edition. Has leather seats, and they put your name at the end of the credits.
Do you ever look at something or read something, and you know that you can't even consider it? Like, I will never have this much money to spend on this thing ever. I can't even reject it because it's not up for consideration. I can't say no.
Brandon, when you play this in a wherever Dave and Buster's or arcade or something, how much does it cost you to play it?
It's at least $1, maybe $2.
$2.
Yeah.
We'll say $2. And then, how likely are you to beat the game with that $2?
It's pretty tricky, actually. It's kind of like a lot of the old Star Wars shooters, where you'd like definitely get through one level and then you might. I can't remember.
You're not
I can't
beating
remember
that
if it's
in
like
real life.
one mission per credit. It might be actually. It might be
Okay.
like when you're done. It's like, okay, now you got to load up more credits to play other missions.
But you could probably beat the game with $25.
Yeah, but your name
Yeah.
wouldn't be in the credits.
That's for sure.
The leather seats just cracks me up because I'm car shopping right now, and one of the things I've learned is like, leather seats might be a luxury, but I don't want it.
Me too.
I actually don't like leather seats.
Yeah.
Like they get hot really easy. They get, they break down quicker. It's just like, why do I want leather seats?
Just that luxury. So I actually watched the trailer. There's a cool mission where you're Darth Vader after the Death Star blows up the first time, and you're like sweeping up the rebels, and you're actually shooting at Han Solo when he blows up in the trailer. He's like, God, Joey! It's just so cool. Like, Brandon, is the game actually good?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a little more basic than I would have liked. It's really on rails. Like, it's really just about like, I got to clear up these targets that are right in front of me. But because it's so immersive, I wanted to have the freedom to kind of like explore and or really like have the time to kind of look around at what was happening. And they really want you to be focused at a very specific point.
So you control your speed more than like your trajectory where you're actually going.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, you can still kind of move around on this plane, but like, why would I lean all the way this way when all the targets I'm facing right now are out in front?
Do you guys think this can work? Like,
I think nerds are a lot richer now than they used to be.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
maybe that's something that, and this is the year of Star Wars. This is it. If there's any time to make some Star Wars play, if you are on Etsy and you make Chewbacca slippers, like, do it now. Like, now's the time this summer. So, yeah.
Even if you're rich, though, is there any way you can make this purchase without instantly being filled with regret?
No, I think you love this. I think you love spending your money on stuff like this.
Depends how many people come by your house,
Yeah.
because like if you have a house in the Hollywood Hills and you just have like hundreds every year
If
that
you're
come by
Notch.
every single time. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're Notch, like every
And
single
you
time
have
people
more
come by,
money
like,
than you know what to
wow,
do
look
with.
at all those jelly beans. Whoa, battle pod.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, it's like guys getting a pool table for their house, right? It's like,
Pool table's still not going to cost you $100,000. Maybe it might.
right.
I don't know.
But I mean, it's like that kind of thing. Like, what is it? I think Grid Autosport. Somebody's gonna have to correct me on a lot on this. But basically, I think one of Codemasters games, there was a special edition that came with like an actual kit card, like a track card, like an aerial atom or a crossbow or something like that. It's just like, here's the special edition of the game, and like, okay, it's just there for marketing purposes to say that like we have the most expensive game right now or whatever.
Oh yeah, the what's the Dying Light game had like you could buy like a little hut with its exclusive edition. Yeah, like it might be worth chasing after whales. I think it might work. I think Brandon's right, is that they're probably selling this because it's Star Wars. I don't know if we'll see more Bandai Namco arcade cabinets for sale for regular people, but it'd be cool.
Unless it's like only in Japan for like a very heavily revered Japanese property or like something comic book related.
Yeah.
Something where it's not just the quality of the game itself. Because arcade games are great, but not something that you're used to playing for like an extended period of time. Maybe 20 minutes.
You said you looked into arcade cabinets. How much does a regular cabinet or like a pinball game run generally?
So pinballs are nasty because they take a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
But I think you could get a legit arcade cabinet of a pretty obscure game for like $300.
that cheap.
It really depends on the game and the
Yeah,
quality
yeah.
of the cabinet.
Yeah.
Like that, arcade collecting is crazy.
Like, let's say I wanted to get like that X-Men one.
Oh,
or the
see,
Simpsons one.
I think those will not be cheap.
They're like collector's
that's a
items.
hot property.
Yeah.
Right. What if I want Adam's Family pinball?
That's
Oh, dude,
That's
you're a millionaire.
yeah,
You're a
yeah.
millionaire.
That's that much, really?
I think
it's
that's a
one
rare
of the
one.
most revered pinball
Oh,
machines.
I love that pinball
Yeah,
game.
I mean, for that
didn't,
reason.
I didn't even know that it was. I just like the Addams Family, and I played that game, and I loved it. I didn't know it was like a famous one.
Yeah.
I'm not
cool.
kidding. I wish we weren't having this conversation because my entire life I've wanted to get into arcade collecting, and
Cool.
this reminded me that I want to do that.
I've always wanted a pinball machine. My dad and I were always really into pinball machines.
Pinball machines are
They're a lot of work.
They're
My
so
neighbor
cool.
had one.
Yeah.
I think it was Spider-Man.
Awesome.
Some people don't like this, but I think it's awesome. They take old pinball machines and they put like new lights in them, so they look brand new because the quality of the lights and the stuff inside is so much better that it looks like it just is fresh off the factory, and they do like a complete restoration on it. And I think it's amazing.
I think that's cool. I'll
Yeah.
allow it.
Yeah.
I'm down
There
for
should
that.
be a show on the History Channel or the Discovery Channel about that. Like Rick's Restoration, but only about pinball machines. I'd watch it.
We're gonna need some characters. I'm afraid that show can't work without some characters.
Well, there'd be the main guy, and his name would have to be like Pete. Because
Okay.
it'd be Pete's Pinball Wizards.
Sure.
And then there's always like the slightly overweight, like kind of rambunctious, younger assistant guy.
Yeah.
Who they're always on these shows and they're always slacking off and getting in trouble because the producers tell them to. But
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
always just like, this person wouldn't really be employed here.
They have a wife named Courtney. And
Who's really energetic, has lots of tattoos.
Yeah. And she
it's
just
always
doesn't
like-
get it. She's
Yeah.
like, but she's also the best at pinball.
Yeah. She's super good at pinball, but she's like, Pete just loves he doesn't even like playing them. He just likes making them.
She's got lots of famous friends.
Yeah.
I gotta.
And they're in Kansas.
I imagine one falling over and he turns to the son and is like, "Don't tell this to Courtney."
It's like, okay, Petey, okay.
Okay, all right, went way off the rails there. Let's talk about Project Cars on Wii U. Not looking good. So here's what happened this week. The developer of Project Cars, Slightly Mad Studios, announced previously they announced the game's coming to Wii U, which always seemed crazy. To
They
be honest.
actually, they was like, I think it brought as early as you could. Like, it was one of the very first games that was announced for Wii U.
You're right. Yeah, it was.
It was when the game was still going to be on 360 and PS3.
Not going to be on 360 and PS3 anymore. It just like won't work. Right now, it is currently running on the Wii U, except at about 23 frames per second at 720p.
That film look.
That is
Get
real-
one more frame per second. You got it.
Yeah, that is film. You're right. And so what they said is they're waiting for E3 to see if Nintendo announces the NX, because if they do, they'll just push it to the NX. Nintendo is not announcing the NX at E3 this year. This is such a weird statement. I don't know where to start with this. Do you think other developers are waiting for the NX? Do you think like everyone's done with the Wii U is what my basic question.
Oh, third parties for the most part, yeah.
Like they have to be, right? Like, but I guess what I mean is, do you think that third parties look forward to the NX like Slightly Mad Studios does, or is it a Nintendo thing or is it a Wii U thing? Is basically what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are always going to be open to see what Nintendo's next thing is. You know, I think, especially on the developer side. I mean, developers get really excited about Nintendo messing around with new hardware and that kind of thing. I think publishers are going to be very driven by their accountants and, you know, will be skeptical, you know, until they see what kind of momentum the next system gets.
I always assumed that like Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft tell certain publishers about new systems like a reasonable amount in advance. If they're announcing at E3, publishers would have, or developers would have to know and be making games for this thing.
I think Nintendo in particular is actually very secretive. I think that a lot of huge publishers were surprised by the Wii U even.
Oh, really?
Well, no, because they were in their video. They were in that dumb video talking about...
you
Yeah,
have
that's
something to show.
Absolutely.
Slightly Mad isn't a huge...
Right.
Right, they're not a
Yeah.
huge developer.
Yeah,
They've made one
and
game.
actually Namco is the one publishing for them too, so...
Yeah. It's just, to me, it's a little sad. It's just like, no, don't listen to NX. Like, I feel the NX announcement is already so botched that just shouldn't have happened. It happened around when Nintendo said it's going to be making mobile games and said, no, we're still making a console. We're going to call it the NX. We're not going to talk about it for another year. Please don't ask me any more questions about NX. Like, you dummies. You can't just let that wild fox out and then say, come back in, come back in. It's not, that wild fox is out there. So everybody's talking about NX already. We're already ready to bury the Wii U. And like, I just think we're burying the Wii U. Are we not, Brandon?
Yeah, didn't we? I buried my Wii U.
Did you?
I played it for a little bit and then took it out back.
Splatoon's coming out this week.
I'm not gonna make time for Splatoon. Not with Witcher. No, there's no way. But it's cool. I mean, I actually don't. I'm not excited for an NX. I think it's way too soon to release. It just seems like I've actually kind of seen, really enjoyed having Microsoft and Sony have this dance back and forth between like I really favor one over the other, or think like, wow, you're really making dumb decisions while the other one's really seems to be on track, and then that'll totally shift to like the next console gen and then shift all the way back. But if they release another console or announce it way ahead of the time that we're ready for another Xbox or another, which is like what, 6 years off before they even start talking about that. Like, I think we still have a lot of time with these other HD consoles. So if they're like, oh, we're going to get out ahead of that with this weird thing. And not to mention people like betting on that. People like Slightly Mad Studios that have no idea what it is. And it's like, how am I going to assume that something like Project Cars even works on a system like that? I don't know what it is. What if it's a weird handheld console put together thing with dual screen, but you keep one screen at home and you know, who knows?
I feel like the Wii U's life cycle is one of the most frustrating that I've ever seen, because when it first came out, I felt like there was a long time where you were just sort of waiting for the games to come, and they announced a bunch of things, and they just weren't there yet. You know, that incredibly huge launch window.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, you got Mario Kart, you get Smash Brothers, you get Bayonetta 2, now Splatoon's coming out, but then it's like, okay, bye, we're done. Like it's sort of the games came out, and then as the games were coming out, you sort of got this sense that the system was dying. You know, like you couldn't even taste the victory, really.
I hear that. It does. You sort of think maybe there is a purpose to announcing games ahead of time, because you do want to believe that there's something forward. Because you're right, it feels like we're at an end of a line right now, especially with Zelda Wii U being so like, actually, you know, we're going to delay that huge. It does feel, you're right, Ben, I absolutely feel that way. It's just like, what is coming forward? Of course, that's what E3 is for.
Mario Maker.
Oh my, don't.
The fact that Mario Maker's not out yet is kind of weird.
Blood, Mario Maker is their huge fall game.
Yeah.
That is Nintendo's huge fall game.
If Mario Maker was like $12.99, I'd be jazzed.
That's exactly right. I think it's going to be $50.
Oh yeah, or 40 at least, and that's way too much.
I don't think it'll be 40. I really don't think that's a $40 game.
Yeah, but I think
they're popping it up like it's huge.
I think Nintendo sees the NX announcement or whatever as just kind of the status quo. It's like, well, yeah, you know, we just start working on new hardware as soon as we release old hardware, and like, but just by putting that name on it, like, people's heads start going crazy.
You're right. This whole thing would have been avoided if they just didn't give it a name.
Yeah.
You're so right, Blood. 100% that's
a
true.
name that sounds like a handheld.
Why does that sound? NX sounds like a handheld to you?
Yeah, doesn't it sound like DX or VX? Or
to me, it just sounds like what Capcom and those guys did, like with Mega Man. Where it was like, in the year 2000X, you like, oh yeah, it's a Nintendo console without a name. NX.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
That's actually really interesting, because if you look at sort of their project code names for the other systems, it's always like Revolution or Dolphin,
Cafe.
but it's not usually 2 letters.
Yeah.
I think you might be onto something.
What if it's like the end of Nintendo making consoles? It's like, we're actually done. We use it. It's NX. It's
X
over.
is like over.
No consoles.
End of the line.
The X of N.
That would actually be completely counter to the purpose of putting a name on it. Yeah.
I don't want to live in a world where Nintendo doesn't have a console.
Give it 20 years.
I understand it's coming, probably, maybe, I don't know, but I cannot feel the same way about video games if I'm playing Nintendo games on other platforms or whatever it is. Like, no, thank you.
Because that year you described was so good. There are so many good games. Tropical Freeze came out that same year. Yeah. Like, there's so many good games on the Wii U. They're killing it.
The weird thing is in a way, I kind of don't imagine Nintendo ever going multi-platform. Like, I think if they stopped making consoles, then they might just make games like for PlayStation. You know, like, I don't know that they would branch out to trying to have teams work on multiple platforms.
Or we've all got the next Nintendo
No,
Ian.
don't stop.
Oh my gosh.
console already.
So if you're a listener, Ian is flaunting his gross little Samsung phone.
I just mean phones.
Oh.
I think that Nintendo wants to do a lot of things that can't be done on a phone ever.
Sure,
Yeah,
true,
exactly.
that's true.
Buttons, like the jump button.
You were talking about how there are so many good games on the Wii U, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
But it's this weird sensation, right? You'll have Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze come out, and you'll be like, yes, this is it. This is amazing. The Wii U, I still believe. Donkey Kong, you're giving me hope. And then it's so long until the next game comes out that your enthusiasm dies, and because you there's just nothing, you go and you play other things, and the Wii U kind of fades back to your memory. And
Like in Brandon's case, yeah.
every 3 months I go through this rise and fall with Nintendo. It's like I'll play Bayonetta 2 and I'm like, thank you, this couldn't have been possible any other way. This is great, Nintendo's amazing, and then nothing happens and I forget about it. and I feel nothing.
That's kind of the thing I don't understand about Nintendo, because, like, I mean, every console does that, where they announce the console comes out, and then there's, like, a year before, like, really great stuff starts coming out. But with Nintendo, especially in the Wii U's case, it's like, didn't they learn their lesson? Like, they announced this thing, it came out off-cycle versus the other consoles, and it was 2-3 years before anything worthwhile came out on the system, and now they've already announced their next console?
It's like what I'm learning this week is that game development is harder than anyone ever thinks it's going to be.
Right.
Like with Project Cars, they're just like, oh, this is hard. You know, Other Ocean trying to make Ultra Street Fighter, they're probably going nuts right now. Like, oh, this is hard. Like, nobody's good at making games. It's just so hard. It's so complicated.
Even like The Witcher, where they took as much time as they needed to get it right, and it comes out and it's still riddled with glitches.
Yeah.
And like, it's a solid game. It's terrifying.
Making games is so hard.
Yeah. But it's funny though, that because of like just what's weird to me is how much they've improved The Witcher in the span of a week. Like just seeing it, you know, like the 4 patches that came out on the PC compared to what I played in the review, and I'm like, so how did you work on it all this time, and then in a week you're able to fix this stuff that wasn't fixed before launch? It's weird.
They're probably fixing some crazy stuff up to launch, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like making games is like trying to put out a fire that you can never extinguish. Like
Right.
you just try to get it to as close to smoldering as you can.
Amaterasu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of it too. It's like you have your staff of, you know, what they've probably got. Yeah, I think they said there's 200 people that worked on the game, so that includes, I'm guessing that includes their testers, which is a small pool of that.
Yeah.
You know, so now it goes out to hundreds of thousands of people, and like all of a sudden they're sending back bugs you never heard of
lot of
before.
testers.
Releasing a game is just the biggest QC test you can do.
Yeah.
In a weird way, part of me thinks that's why you're sort of seeing the transition to games as a service. Because from a consumer standpoint, you know, if you have, let's say you have a MOBA and you release it, people expect that it will continually change over time. Features will get added. Nerf balance issues will be applied, and all of that stuff. Like, it doesn't. People don't think about it the same way that they think about a product, and so I think it's more beneficial from a PR standpoint, and like a bunch of reasons. You just say no. Like, this is just the beginning. That's why you've seen such a huge rise in early access. You know, it's because it's so hard making games. They have to let you know ahead of time, hey, this is probably not perfect yet.
Yeah, but you still need revenue coming in.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the model for every game before too long. Like, maybe we need a new term other than early access, because that gives you the impression that it's not finished.
Or
like,
another word for launch.
Right. Because no game...
It's like, oh, did that come out? Oh, yeah, that did come out.
Like, no game is ever finished like some of these, you know?
I remember when we started our
and
Minecraft
MMOs.
review, I was like, what, we're reviewing Minecraft? And they're like, it's out. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Minecraft's
The
out.
official release
Been
date
playing
of
it for a
Minecraft
year
was
and a half,
hilarious,
like
yeah.
extensively. Like
It's completely appropriate to bring up reviews in this conversation as well, because I've only been doing this for 2 years, but in that time period, so often I feel like I am reviewing a proof of concept as opposed to an actual video game, and more often I have to say, maybe this will be completely different in a month, and this review is totally irrelevant, so keep that in mind as you're listening. And that puts reviewers in a weird space.
Yeah, I mean, even Splatoon, even Nintendo is probably going to patch that heavily.
Yeah.
That's
Well, now they've
crazy.
announced a lot of stuff that they're adding to it, you know, and that's one of the things is, you know, there's needs to be more maps, and like, oh, there's more maps coming in a couple weeks. It's
so frustrating.
And I think, you know, I think at the end of the day, we can talk about quality and talk about game lifespans and stuff like that. But like at the same time, you're gonna have that week, that 1 week. That's your week. You know, like that you launch, that everyone like, okay, this is it. Everybody, stop what you're doing and pay attention to us. And if you're gonna do that with Street Fighter, if you're gonna do that with these games, it's like you have to seize that moment, regardless of how much work you want to do. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just all about language. Again, one of the many reasons why I'm just fascinated with game trailers is that whole concept of like, we want to get you excited, but reasonably, you know, you're saying like, we want you to know that it is in this state, and like, so it's fun to see media that like just completely addresses that,
Yeah.
or tries to like circumvent it somehow.
What if a company, hear me out.
Okay.
What if a company, like someone making, like what if the next Assassin's Creed, Syndicate or whatever, what if they came out with a trailer that was like a bloopers trailer. It's like here's all the crazy bloopers and glitches that we've encountered so far.
Whoa.
We're fixing them, but these are hilarious.
You know who's super good about that is EA. When there's a funny glitch in their game, they'll do a trailer about it. Like when the Tiger Woods walking across the water one. That one is really good.
I actually been following Battlefield Hardline on Twitter, and they actually do a good job with GIFs of like multiplayer, and they're just like, this guy was walking on a plane, and we're,
I think
but
it's
it
a good
looks
idea.
fun, and so
Yeah.
you get excited.
I saw a video yesterday of a glitched out sex scene in Witcher 3.
Oh man, with the
It was
floating head.
incredible.
That's
Like
pretty good.
they were just standing there, and then his head just comes like suddenly out. It was amazing.
I'm sorry, they were just standing there naked?
No, well, partially. It was weird. Sometimes they were naked, sometimes they weren't. But like,
were they grinding on each other?
not really. The two bodies were just standing in the middle of the room, and the heads were the only things that were moving.
Oh,
and
I
Geralt's
see.
head was like, it had no hair, and it's just a floating neck, and it was just like floating about the room.
So it's like this cool supernatural way of doing it,
Yeah.
where like your body stays.
It was
Exactly.
amazing, but
and
like
just-
it was. So the shot was like their crotches, but they had like their underwear on, and they were just standing there, not moving. And then all of a sudden, his head just goes like out from like. It was so funny.
I saw an article the other day that said these are all the sex scenes in Witcher 3. And it was just a compilation of all the sex scenes in Witcher 3. And I am not condemning this. I'm not praising this. I just had this. I clicked on it. I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I just had this realization. There will always be this element of video games. No matter what happens, 100 years from now,
Pre-order
some
DLC, yes.
gaming blog somewhere will say these are all the sex scenes in this video game. No matter what happens,
Yeah.
how we progress, that will be there.
Oh, it's clicks, baby.
Yeah.
That's clicks.
Yeah.
Gotta get those clicks. Let's move on. By the way, that was all talking about Project Cars.
Yep. That's deep.
I feel bad for like anyone who's just like scrolling through the show. It's just like, oh, they're gonna talk about Project Cars, and then just like, no,
Nope,
we just went
sorry.
on a.
Right.
I freaking
I
love
actually,
that.
yeah, I actually have been playing it, poking at it, trying to do the review, but it will come eventually.
Can you give us a little sneak peek?
It kind of opened up to me last night with the weather. I had to race in a thunderstorm at 80 miles an hour, and I'm just like, this is crazy. This race would be shut down, but okay, I'll do this. I'll slide around the corners and have 5 cars bounce into me on the first turn.
And if you're just listening, Blood is smiling as if this was very fun. You had a good time.
Yeah, well, it was great because like the weather system, like it's pretty convincing. Actually, like the sound of the raindrops on the roof, and then like
That's cool.
and then it just like lightened up, and then like the sun came out, and I finished the race in like semi-dry weather, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Project Cars. I think it's always been a cool game, like crowdfunded. I want them to succeed. Anyway, let's move on to Lego Worlds. This is a funny thing. This leaked on the back page of Lego set instructions. So what we have here to describe this to people, this was on a message board I think called Eurobricks, like for Lego fans. Boy, we talk about Lego a lot on this show. So yeah, and so what happened was it looks like Minecraft. Just imagine a big Minecraft field, except there's a Lego bulldozer. It's like regular looking Lego people, to be honest. Explore, discover, create Lego Worlds. This is a game, right? This is a Minecraft Lego game. Can we assume that?
You can assume it, sure.
You can assume a
not
lot of
confirming
things.
it,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
the problem I have is, my knee-jerk reaction is that this has to be just like a name for Lego Dimensions that they like threw out the window.
But this looks
it
so
doesn't
different.
look. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
look a thing like Lego Dimensions.
Yeah. It looks like Minecraft. You see fields. You see fields of, jaggedy Lego hills, and, people mining. I think they're mining onto these rocks. Ben, what do you think
Well,
about
there's a
this?
bulldozer.
I feel confused.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I think it was called Lego Island. Do you remember that game?
Heck yeah, that's a PC game.
Yeah, you played as like a pizza delivery boy.
Right.
The reason I loved that game so deeply because it took Lego and it had like some of the creation elements, but it gave it like a world, it gave it a story, it gave it characters that I cared about, and it was like, okay, you can't really do this with regular like Legos. You're using this format to express something in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I'm just building stuff, with Legos in a video game, why am I not just using real Legos? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's not fun. I just don't. I don't know.
I hear you. And also, it's weird. It's weird for this to be announced the same year as Lego Dimensions, the same year as Lego Jurassic Park, the same year as Lego Avengers. There's
Lego Justice League.
Is there a game this year?
I saw something on social media about it. Yeah.
Are you sure that's not something embargoed?
I saw it on social media today.
Okay.
It was Games Radar or something posted something about.
So that's crazy. That's
Lego Justice
and
League.
TT Games is making them all.
Probably, yeah.
This poor studio. We should mention TT Games and WB are on the bottom of this flyer.
I have to give them credit though, because part of the reason I'm not interested in the regular Lego games is I feel like they're kind of all the same. You know, take popular franchise, have this style of game ad nauseum.
Popular French fries.
Popular French fries.
Popular French fries. I don't enunciate very well. So you know, this is not that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, the weird thing to me is like, what took you so long? Because like, Minecraft is digital Legos, more or less, and the Lego video games, yeah, you can build in them from time to time, but it's like an auto build.
Right. It's never about creativity.
It's never about creativity.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is a no-brainer. Why have they not done this 4 years ago?
Because making games is hard.
Yeah,
but
I think it's maybe just development time. I think it's just an idea that they had, and they were waiting for the right time to strike.
I accidentally clicked the next slide, but we should move on. It's time for, well, you're the one who started this conversation. Let's look at, I got one from Twitter. I like this way of telling me what you want to hear about. At Kyle Bossman, well, you're the one who started this conversation. The PlayStation E3 experience, live in theaters, ticket sale was a broken mess. That's from Bearded Tim, who is at TC Smith 14. I like that. It's not a question. It's just like, talk about this. I'm like, okay, we'll do it.
Sony killing it right now.
So yeah. What happened is Sony announced you can go to the movie theaters to watch your E3 press conference, which sounds awesome.
With a post Q&A with Jeff Keighley.
Oh my God, what a treat!
Exclusive to theaters.
It's free. However, when it went live, everything crashed. When it came back, the tickets were sold out. And that is the conversation that we shall start now. What do we think about that? What is the best way to handle this?
There's no good way to handle ticket sales, really, in our current technological society.
There's no good way?
Yeah, they're all pretty bad. I actually just lived vicariously through a friend of mine and all of his friends when they announced Grateful Dead with Trey Anastasio from Phish, like the special concert that was literally going to play like one weekend. That was it. It's like 3 dates. It's like, you're not even touring. It's literally just like, nope, one venue, 3 days, that's it.
Yeah.
And like, no one's getting those tickets. You're not.
No one is getting those tickets.
It's not happening. You know, it's like all the scalpers going to come in. They're going to eat 90% of it. They did some other like mail thing beforehand where you could like mail in to get tickets, and like it's like, oh, that might sound cool. I know no one that got them. Nobody. Not even friends of friends of friends of friends ever got, like every the mail things that got back in the mail was like, nope, sorry, didn't get tickets. So there's just too many people. There's just too many people that all want to be at that one place, that all want to access this one website at the same time. It's something, I don't know. Maybe somebody in the vein of like Twitter or Facebook should figure that out. Whoever like
they should
figures
do
out
multiple servers. Because they all freak out. They should do regional servers somehow.
Yeah, because it's a dumb thing where you don't need all those servers most of the time. And then just for these single moments, just for these single 15 minutes, you need a ton of servers suddenly. And
you're not even spending money on servers for the thing. You're spending money on servers for the thing that gets you into the thing.
They should use something that has crazy server load like Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon's a good call.
That's what I mean, like rent someone else's servers.
Sure.
For that, yeah.
Ben, you were nodding a lot. Like, this is okay. This is okay, man?
No. I don't think it's okay at all. So, BlizzCon, every year that they do it, it feels like, I'm not saying this is 100% true, but it feels like they change how they meter out the tickets, because every single year something breaks or crashes or people get screwed over in a really horrible way, and no matter what they do, it's always terrible, and people get burned.
What does BlizzCon
PAX
do?
is always a nightmare too.
PAX
What's up?
PAX
Just getting into PAX. It can be,
Yeah. What do they do? What does BlizzCon do?
So, I haven't been part of it the last couple of years because I've been fortunate enough to go as press.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
Absolutely. It is. They have some sort of Because I haven't done it, I feel hesitant to explain it. But they have some sort of queue system where like you access this, like as you're going through this process, you're guaranteed tickets. I don't really want to go into too much detail.
It's safe to say it's a crazy process. I think what PAX does is just raise the price, right? Like, isn't that how they handle that?
I don't know. I just know it changes every year. I've seen emails before in previous years where they're like, okay, we're going to try to do it this time. Comic-Con, nightmare.
Right.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Even getting hotels is like, heart attack.
And in this case,
the hotel process makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense.
It's so frustrating because I've talked to so many of these people where they're like, no, I don't need to do anything else cool this year. I love this thing so much. I want to go to this thing. It would mean the world to me. And like seeing them get rejected breaks my heart.
But at the same time, like this isn't bad press at all, I think, for Sony. Maybe like a little bit, but so many people wanted to go to your event that like not all of them are going to get to go, and there was this huge. It's like the demand, we're drowning in it. It's like that's awesome press. That's really, really good for them going into it. Like we must be announcing something cool. Stay tuned. Like I think it's great.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing is it's like it allows them to show that they, that's probably the solve. It's like long term. It's like, okay, we have this demand, we can push it out to more theaters next year, and then the theaters individually can handle the load for those local areas.
Is Solve hitting this coast now? Used the way he just used it?
Solve. Explain how he just used that.
That's the solve? Or what's your solve for that?
To me, that's like
Ad people in the Midwest and East Coast were using that, and I was like, no. Solution.
No, I feel like that's like a Silicon Valley thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the
It's
solve.
a hot new tech term.
Yeah. You don't like it.
It's weird. I don't know. It's fine, I guess. I actually kind of enjoy the systematic destruction of the English language.
As long as you're charting it.
Honestly,
that's all our civilization's been doing for
yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of years. We can't be hypocritical about it.
It's a living
The English we're
language.
speaking is a version of us taking the English they were speaking 200, 300 years ago. And like,
Forsooth.
nope.
I think the solve is just don't make it free. I think the
Kyle
solve.
just goes ahead and uses it.
Anywho.
I think the solve is just make it expensive. I mean, like, it is. Those were free tickets, and that's the reason why it crashed.
Who
It's so
got
hard.
Who got the tickets? You
People.
said the whole site went down, or just for some people?
Just for, I mean, clearly some people got through.
Oh,
Can
okay.
I very quickly
Yeah.
pitch something to you guys that I heard on another podcast?
Okay.
Called The Instance, a podcast about World of Warcraft. They were just, theorizing, what if there was a certain allocation for BlizzCon, for example, where like if you completed this achievement in any of their games,
That's
you
actually what I was
gotta
thinking.
gotta ride to BlizzCon. And I'm not saying it's a good idea, but it's
Yeah.
interesting to think about.
It's
I was thinking that
dangerous.
too. They could link it into their games. Like if you get this rank, you have early
Right, but then
access.
that's not free because you got to pay the subscription to level up a character
That's
to that
the
point to
game.
have the chance
That's
of getting
the
that.
game.
I
Yeah.
am giving you
I
money
mean,
for the ticket anyway.
It's good for
Yeah,
them.
that's true. That's true. I think that's a valid point. But wouldn't most people that want to go to these things probably already have that stuff?
Yeah.
Plus, you also bring into account, it's like holidays whenever I play World of Warcraft, and like I'd lose my mind because it's like I only have so many days to do this, and every time I try to go to that area, everyone's doing it because everybody's also works, and so like the nighttime is the only time they have to get on the server and do stuff.
No, it's
So
not fair.
You're still gonna get a bunch of people like they did going to that website, going to that whatever realm,
Yeah.
to finish that achievement.
I think there's danger in saying you should be this good to come to our thing to prove your worth. I think that's a bad thought process.
Yeah.
But in a way, rather than leaving it up to chance, rather than leaving it up to looters or people with faster internet connections or faster clicking fingers than me, like I think there is some satisfaction of like, no, like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna earn my way in. There's something appealing about that.
Have they ever had tickets as loot drops in a game?
A
A
golden
random
ticket?
person just
Oh,
gets a ticket
man.
to
Yeah.
BlizzCon?
Oh my god.
That would.
I always had an idea back in the day, and for some reason I always thought it'd be funny to do it in like a Joanne Fabrics or something like that, like a store. But you have an actual store where there's like a buzzer and a light where unannounced at some point during the day there will be a 4-minute sale where everything you buy is 95% off.
Dude, Kmart
and you
used
just
to do
don't
that.
tell anyone. Really?
Kmart used to do that. That's what a blue light special used to be.
Oh my god.
Yeah. How
Just
cool is that?
pandemonium, like psychotic
Yeah.
fervor.
They had to stop doing it
Yeah.
because it is psychotic
Because people
fervor.
would die.
Yeah, but Kmart, that was like a
Oh
thing
my
Kmart
God.
used to do. Big shout out to Kmart.
Kmart.
Innovator in the game.
I think I like Psychotic Fervor.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you
We need more
if you
of it.
told me, hey, come to this place and watch people freak out, I would go.
Imagine all the weirdos just like hanging around all day waiting for this light to go up with like brass knuckles.
Like the guys waiting for the amiibo shipments to come off the truck.
Yeah, Amiibo. That's
Great example.
That's Psychotic
Great
Fervor.
parallel. That is some psychotic fervor. Thank you so much for starting that conversation, Bearded Tim. But it is now time for bets. Here's what we got this week. Splatoon releases Friday. That's tomorrow. Big game for Nintendo. Splatoon has a weirdly active fan art community.
Weirdly active?
Yeah, go look
Bunch
at
of
it.
weirdos.
It's weirdly active.
I guess I mean as opposed to like other games that are just announced. Game's not out yet and already has a ton of fan art. So that's why it's weirdly active. You're not weird if you're into fan art.
Okay.
You're weird if you're
okay.
active in fan art.
No, you're not. No, you're just doing art. That's how you'll learn.
It depends on the art.
There is some weird Sonic fan art. It gets weird.
Yeah,
It gets
sometimes
beyond. I
definitely
like this thing.
weird.
Right.
Would you say that it's deviant?
It is unspeakable. Okay, I'm all for people loving things. Clearly,
Yeah.
this is not love.
Why you gotta judge, man? Why you gotta judge?
You're right.
Yeah,
You're
Some
right.
people,
I guess.
you know,
boy.
Your freaky Sonic art's not hurting anybody. I'm
Yeah.
okay.
No, it hurt me.
That could hurt some people.
you're killing Ben with your Sonic art.
So what we're doing is we're going to deviantart.com. We're going to do a search for the word Splatoon. Currently, you get 2,923 results on DeviantArt for a search for Splatoon. At this
With
point,
safe search on.
with safe search on, that is important to know. We put safe search on. What will that number be at next week?
This is a good bet because the word Splatoon is nonsense. So like you're not gonna get any crossover with something that could
Yeah.
possibly not be Splatoon.
Yeah, it is only Splatoon
You should
stuff.
check out some of that Sonic fan art. Might prove you wrong.
Go to sonicfanart.com.
might be more
Google
crossover than
Splatoon.
you think.
So Bloodworth, you are first to reveal this week. What do you think that number will be at?
Okay, I'm gonna go with what I think is a low bet, but 2970.
Okay,
Yeah,
Brennan Jones, what's your bet?
3,200.
My bet is 3,412.
Okay.
My bet, 3,300.
Ooh, we got some close stuff. Let me lock those in. I'm real excited about this bet. Don't let us down, everybody. Don't hold back. If you want to make fan art, do it. Gosh, it's cool. I think I think actually like talking about an IP and intellectual property. Good on Nintendo for like creating something people are already attached to.
Speaking of Splatoon fan art, I did peruse some of it because somebody posted, and it's one of those things where, like, I wish I could draw because like I hate having an idea for a really funny cartoon or something, and it's just like, oh well, too bad I can't draw. But obviously there's the Platoon reference, so somebody had like the Ant Kid like no with the hands up in the air.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
like,
So you had an idea for a cartoon. You're like, I should see if someone's done this.
I had that idea,
Yeah.
and then like a couple days later after it got announced, like somebody on Twitter was like, well, this didn't take long for this to happen.
Okay.
And somebody responded to that, and you're actually late, and posted something that came up like a day before that was even better. They had like a forest in the background.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah. Well, like,
Yeah.
what was it? One of the Pokemon games. Like, as soon as it was announced, it was like an hour or two later that people had fan art of the new creatures.
Oh, it takes no seconds for Pokemon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you said that, Brandon. If I had three wishes, I would use one of those wishes on like let me be able to draw and create art.
Honestly,
I can't.
Guys, I think drawing is just practice. It's
No,
honestly
it's a
just
skill.
It's just doing it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
No,
there's something in my life. There's a lot of things in my life that I practiced at and got better at, but all of those were born out of just an innate skill to do it. Just
Certainly,
kind of
like,
leaning in that direction. Be
we
like,
could
look, I'm
all-
good at this.
We could all practice forever and still not be very good, but
Right.
you can get better.
Yeah, you could have made that. I'm positive you could have made that Platoon drawing.
Thanks, Kyle.
Okay.
That changes everything.
Believe in yourself. Everyone believe in yourself. Just work hard and things can happen. Last week's bet was about Ultra Street Fighter 4. At this point last week, I thought Ultra Street Fighter 4 was going to be great. How things change. Anyway, what we did, this is a really elaborate bet. We started arcade mode on hardest difficulty, and we set it to 1 round to win. We selected a random character. Once the match started, we did not press any buttons. How long would the match last? Here's how the bets worked down. Andrea bet 60 seconds for the super seat. Bloodworth bet 14 seconds. Elise was in the Jones seat. She bet 45 seconds, and I bet 27 seconds. We did this on GT Live. We did this live.
I want to know what Jones would have actually bet.
It's not fair. He knows the results.
It's tough now because I know the results, but honestly, I'd probably bet under you. I still would have lost. You still would have won it, you punk. But I probably would have been in the 20s, probably low 20s.
Brandon, low 20s would have won. The match was 18 seconds long.
Yeah, I probably would have been like 25 though.
Yeah,
25
and then
or 24 something.
So Blood bet 14.
No way longer than 30. I don't know how you would think.
Yeah, I thought all of you were insane.
Yeah, 60.
I was like 12 seconds.
I think it's because it's the first round. I was underestimating the hardest difficulty. In the first round, the AI is just kind of dumb with you and will like be patient, but not on hardest difficulty.
Well, it was funny because Poison took no damage, didn't she?
Well, of course, we put the controller down.
Right, but like it was a shutout.
It had to be a shutout.
They weren't going to fight each other?
No. We were player one. We were the computer.
I thought you set both of them to CPU. I thought you could do that.
No. It was just us. We just
as he's wont to
I
do. Kyle
misunderstood.
explained the rules of it very poorly. He
Yeah.
explained it before GT Live, at the
thought he
beginning of
did.
GT Live, and then right before he did it. And while it was happening, I was like, "Oh, okay."
No,
okay,
that's
sorry.
on you. That's on you, noobs. I explained that as clearly as possible.
I still thought that both players were CPU.
How could you start arcade mode as
I
two
don't know.
CPU players?
I don't play fighting games.
Okay.
But apparently you
There
can
it
do
is.
it with like Blitzball. You can set like all bots and watch them.
What a weird poll.
I've been invited to an event where we're gonna watch bots play each other in Blitzball.
Are you betting
I'm
on
there.
them? Are you
Yeah,
betting on them?
They're betting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool.
I think it's
cool
kind
with
of a
that.
funny idea.
I think it deserves a mention. Your bets are getting more and more creative. I like
Yeah,
it.
you do a good job, Kyle.
Yeah.
I like those.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they're fun.
Because I never feel confident in them, so that means you're reinventing yourself constantly.
How do you
should
feel
do
this
a
week?
bet of how
I never feel
many-
good. I never feel good about it at all.
Okay.
Side bet. How
bet.
many
Because you have to-
hours will it take Ben to reach legendary on Friday?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I could think about the facets that could affect the number of images that are on DeviantArt for Splatoon for 5 hours. I could literally like write a book
What are
on
you-
that.
what
I'm
are
just
you-
like,
what are you
there's
doing with
all-
your life?
There's all of these things that could change that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, but I don't. If I'm like, I don't really have 5 minutes to think about it. I don't know where to start. You know, like.
Yeah. In fact, if you want to put your money,
does the fact that the game is launched have anything to do with how many people are doing art of it? Because it's
Absolutely
art,
does.
you know. It doesn't like obviously for like relevance, but for like creative. Like I never wanted to draw a Splatoon character, and now that I'm suddenly playing the game, well, now I do. You know, I think it's more on look, that design just popped up on the web. I want to imitate that or draw it to get better at drawing.
So I have the
There's
high
so many
bet.
facets.
So my actual rationale is that there's side characters. There's the shop owners who all look awesome. I think they're gonna see things in the games and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to create that. I need to try to capture that thing.
Things they haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
It's weird because I feel like it's getting to the point where I can look at something and say like, yep, there's going to be a lot of fan art of that.
And cosplay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool. It's
It
cool
is.
that
It is
that's
cool.
Creative.
It is cool.
Bloodworth, what's wrong?
What's wrong? Oh, no, nothing.
It's just a little antsy to close out the show and promote a video. That is what you win for winning the bet. Bloodworth.
My years and years of being bad at Street Fighter have paid off.
Oh, actually, yeah. So hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off. The current score now, Bloodworth 8, tied with the super seat. The tied again at 8 points. Jones, how many points do you have, buddy?
What?
You have 2 points.
I have 2 points.
Yeah,
Two.
and I have 3, and just right above them. And so, Blood, again, you may close out the show and promote any video. Wait, what?
Wow.
What?
Nothing.
Are you about to gloat?
No, I wasn't going to glow. It's just like, come on, guys.
He's gloating.
I would say that
I
it's
know I have
not
no host
fair.
in this race.
I would say that it's not fair because the super seat has the collected wisdom of several people, but then Bloodworth also has 8. So
Yeah. Well, Bloodworth is blood, you know?
Bloodworth is like a human computer or something.
Oh, wow. I guess I've been busy planning E3 stuff, so I don't have much to show for it after the Witcher videos that I did. So, but Wadham, Brandon got to see Wadham, got to see it running. I don't think anyone actually knows what it is yet.
Easy to play, hard to explain.
But yeah, we have a Just Played for that up, and Brandon tries to explain it. We have a little bit of footage in there. You know, if you like Katamari and Nobi Nobi, you know, it's from that guy. And it's probably more in the Nobi Nobi camp of I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll have fun anyways. But it's like looks like there's no time limit at least, so that takes that pressure off.
Yeah, I think there might be little mini games in there that on their own might have time limits, but yeah, very free in game. Great game to demo, great game for a party. Kind of one of those that everybody just kind of like migrates around and starts watching someone else play for a long period of time.
Like
good
play
stuff.
multiplayer?
I think it's co-op. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I hate Blitzball.
I did not get into
I
it.
do too.
Yeah, I played it as little as possible. I know there are fans out there. I couldn't get
I
into
barely
Blitzball.
remember it.
It's
I
a
can't really
turn-based
remember.
sports game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it in water? A circle of
Yes.
water?
Yeah.
In a
Floating
a
in the
sphere
air?
of water. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, so check out Wadham, and then definitely take the time to tell us what we got wrong, and send us your questions for next week, and especially as we're starting to move towards E3. Any kind of
E3 informed me that
related
E3 started
questions?
this week, or E3. Kyle did. Kyle said we have started.
Yeah, we have the playlist on the reviews channel. We already have an E3 playlist with
cool.
5 or 6 videos in it.
Yeah. Bonus Round kicked it off, actually. Bonus Round did their PlayStation special.
Jeff Keighley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
man.
starts
King of E3
right
right
now.
now.
But yeah, so I'm on Twitter at dbloodworth2. Brandon.
GameTrailers VO.
At Kyle Bossman.
At Ben Moore 0-5.
Yeah. So thanks for watching and have a great week.
Do you have a sign-off?
That was the sign off.
Do you have like a pro sign-off?
A
Have a
pro
great week,
sign up.
yeah.
Yeah, like up and out, like your own
No.
personal.
Forever.
I thought I should come up with something at some point, and I just totally forgot. So whatever.
So we'll have cut way before this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that.
I love.